Research students, especially research students at the PhD level, are expected to produce good quality research. However, in many cases, as is reflected in the research theses and research reports or research papers of research students, there is a compromise on the quality of the research that is conducted and presented. One can see the compromise on the quality of research in terms of the conceptualization of research, the conduct or the process of research, and the outcomes of the research that is presented in research thesis. So what are some of the factors, or what are the impediments to good quality student research? Or why is it that students in many cases fail to produce good quality or acceptable quality research? So first of all, what is research quality? This is a question that first of all we need to respond to. Generally, a research will be quality research if there is clarity and rationalization of the what of the research process, or in other words, what topic has been explored, is that presented clearly and adequately. Secondly, the why of the research, or in other words, the rationalization of the research. Has the research concept and the research process been properly rationalized? Third, the how of the research process. In other words, is it the methodology of the research? Has the methodology of the research been clearly presented? And lastly, the so what of the research. In other words, the outcomes of the research. So the outcomes of the research, the findings of the research, the implications of the research, have these been clearly and succinctly presented in the research reports and research theses? If the answer to these questions is yes and clear, we will say that the research is a good quality research. On the other hand, if there are ambiguities related to these main questions regarding the what, the why, the how, and the so what of the research process, we might conclude that there are issues in terms of the quality or the lack of quality of the research. Now, some of the impediments, generally, ultimately the student researcher has to pay for the lack of quality of the research in terms of failures, or in terms of getting substantial revisions, or in some cases resubmission of their thesis. But the factors that are responsible for possible failure of the student to produce good quality research are more than those that are related to the role of the student. But the role of the student is perhaps the most significant one. And generally there will be a lack of quality of the student research when there is lack of the personal, academic, and professional characteristics on the part of the student. So on the personal level, if the student lacks commitment, if he or she lacks the particular aptitude that is needed for a successful research student, and if they lack independence, whether that's on their own part, or if that is because of the institutional or outside factors, that will result in a compromise on the quality of research. Secondly, academic. If the student lacks academic knowledge and skills, related to the field in which, or the topics on which they are working. And again, in independence in terms of, for example, the field choice or the topic choice, they can also lead to possible compromise on the quality, because in that case, if the student lacks independence in terms of choosing their topic or in making other decisions during the research process, that will lead to lack of interest or motivation, and ultimately will impede the process of good quality research. Then professional competence is also very important on the part of the research student. So in order for the research students to produce good quality research, there are certain personal attributes, academic attributes, and professional attributes, and the lack of those attributes will ultimately have an effect on the quality of their research. Then the second important factor is the supervisor's role in terms of ensuring the quality of research. So if there is a compromise in any of the roles of the supervisors, that will impede the process and outcome of the research process, of the research endeavor. So again, personal commitment and aptitude of the supervisor are very important. Also, the supervisor needs to be independent in order to make informed decisions, informed academic and research decisions. And so if the supervisor is mired in institutional structures and superstructures where they do not have the requisite independence to give independent and clear guidance to the students in terms of the topic choice or other methodological choices during the process of research, that can impede the process of good quality research. Then the academic knowledge of the supervisor plays an important role. The academic knowledge in the particular field of research, their skills as accomplished researchers, their experience in terms of conducting research and in terms of supervising different types of research in their field is very important. And again, independence, something very important again in terms of their take on the particular field of knowledge in which they are actually supervising or working. So they should be independent and experts in that particular field, and so they will not be entirely depending on others in terms of taking advice regarding the research theses or projects of their students. Then professional knowledge, professional competence, and professional ethics is very important. Supervision is a highly important undertaking, and it is therefore important that supervisor should know about their professional roles. They should have knowledge of their professional roles. They should be competent in terms of providing professional advice to their students, and also they should have knowledge of and commitment to the professional ethics in the field of research. And so if this is the case, if this is not the case, this will lead to to a bad impact on the process of and the productivity of the research that is conducted by the research student. So the role of the supervisor could be a very useful one. It could be a very helpful one, but at the same time, if the supervisor is not able to play their role personally in academic terms and in a professional sense, that will impede the process of good quality research. Lastly, institutional or environmental factors are very important. So first of all, if there is lack of rigorous and independent academic and assessment environment, in the institution or in the university that will impede the process of good quality research, because compromise on the conceptualization of research, the conduct of research, or the assessment of research will ultimately impede the process of quality research, and as a result, the quality of the research thesis will be compromised. Then facilities, the lack of facilities in institutions is again something that will impede the quality of the student research. If they're conducting, for example, experimental studies such as in natural sciences, they will need proper facilities, laboratory facilities. If they're working in social sciences or humanities, they might need good facilities such as libraries. Facilities will also include the kind of teaching or faculty, the kind of support staff, the kind of infrastructure that is available there. So if there is lack of these facilities, that will have a bad impact on the quality of the student research. And lastly, research ethos or the philosophy of the particular institution related to the process and product of research. That is very important. Rigorous an environment that is actually encouraging rigorous ethical research will have a very good impact on the quality of research. On the other hand, if there is compromise on the academic rigor, the integrity, the ethics of the research, in short, on the research ethos in a particular institution, that will lead to a compromise on the quality of research, and ultimately it will impact the quality of the student research. So in summary, we can see that although the role of the student is the main role in terms of conducting and producing good quality research, but this is the issue is more complex than that, and there are several factors that ultimately lead to a compromise on the quality of the student research. And so these include the students' role themselves, the supervisor's role or the process of supervision, the quality of supervision, and the institutional environment. All of these play their role. If there is compromise in any of these roles, the result will be an impact on the quality of student research.